So today we are going to do a deep dive on how we can heighten our discernment when it comes to dating. Because y'all, it is so much going on nowadays that this is a topic that needs to be talked about. I know I say that in just about every video that this is a necessary conversation, but it is. Like these videos that I'm putting out for y'all is literally conversations that I'm having with God myself, some epiphanies that he's downloaded to me, and some things that I just really think that we need to do better as a community on recognizing certain things, because the only way I believe that we'll be able to have healthy relationships, healthy marriages, is if we're able to heighten our discernment and actually use discernment when picking our partner, because he did give us free will, so we are able to choose who is best suitable for us and what the Father has called us to do. So yeah, let's get into it. The first way that I think we can heighten our discernment is we can strengthen our relationship with God first and foremost. Because one thing that I have realized, and something that he shared with me years ago, is that when we put him first and when we make sure that he is our number one priority, he's going to make for sure that we receive the gift of discernment, because that's what it is. It is genuinely a spiritual gift. And it reminded me of the scripture, John 10, verse 27, It says, "My sheep hear my voice, and I know them, and they follow me." Y'all, it's something I have realized is that the more that I spend time with him, the more that I pray, the more that I just talk to him, really. Like, as of recently, he has just been sharing with me how I tell him all the time that, like, he's my father, my husband, and my everything. And he had shared with me about, like, 3 weeks ago, and he was like, "You keep saying that, but I want to be that. Like, I want to be your therapist. I want to be your friend. I want to be your best friend. I want to be your sister. I want to be your father, your mother. I want to be all of those things. Like, when you are going through it, I want you to run to me. I don't want you to run to man. I want you to run to me." And for me, that is the biggest hug that I could have ever received from him. Because one of the things that has helped me and has kept me these 3 years that I have been single is discernment. Now, yes, of course, I did get to know people throughout the last 3 years. I'm not going to sit up here and say that I haven't entertained anybody, because I have. However, the reason why I have not brought anyone else home, or the reason why I have not actually been consistent in my communication with a person, is strictly because my discernment radar. And I don't know if anyone else has those times that, like, when you meet someone and when you, like, instantly meet them, you already can, like, just sense what type of time they're on based off of what they say, the way that they act, the way that they're moving. Like, you're just able to tell a lot about a person. And I feel like with discernment, and when you actually sharpen your discernment by reading his word, by being around like-minded believers, and when you don't second guess yourself, is definitely what I feel like will help you in dating. Now, enough of my rambling. On to the 3 things that, if you are struggling with discernment, this will help you. 1, am I reading God's word consistently? Keyword, consistently. It's one thing to say that you read it on Sundays or on Saturdays, but it's another if you're not reading it throughout the week. Secondly, do I talk to God daily or only when I need something? It's just kind of like a parent. Your parents don't want to just talk to you when you need something from them. They want to feel like you actually want to have a relationship with them. It's just literally with any other relationship. Like, people want to know that you're not even just talking to them when you need something, but genuinely to have a healthy dynamic with you. And third is, am I positioning myself to hear him, or am I drowning his voice with distractions? Now, I will say one thing about distractions is it does not even just have to be external factors. It could also be in your home. It could be you. You could be distracting yourself from hearing God's voice, where you're scrolling on TikTok all hours of the night, or where you're scrolling on Instagram Reels all hours of the day, and you're not even focused, or you're not even setting aside time to be present with the Father. And that's something that I have been working on. And I ain't saying that I'm perfect at it, but I am working on doing my best to, like, set aside some time, even if it's early in the morning, like 4 a.m., 5 a.m., like whenever I'm able to get up, or the first thing that I do when I get up, I do my best to pray. Now, have I always been doing it? No, but it's something that I'm consistently working on, even when it comes to the gym. I want to be consistent there. But if I can't fall before my Father's face, He's the one that gives me breath in my lungs. So we have to watch what we're spending our time on, and we don't want to become a distraction ourselves. Another thing I've realized is that a strong prayer life sharpens your discernment, because the closer you are to God, the harder it becomes for deception to reach you. Y'all, when I tell you, I was just telling one of my friends on Monday that I had an overwhelming, uneasy feeling about somebody, and he was able to tell me, like, you're not, like, wrong at all. And I knew I wasn't, but it was just something for him to be like, no, like, I hear you. I validate what you're saying. And to me, because I am in a time of doing my best to draw closer to God every single day, and every hour I always tell him, like, thank you for even giving me another opportunity to choose you today. And that is what it is. Like, every day we are given an opportunity to choose God. Every hour we're given an opportunity to choose Him. So, yeah. And the second one, y'all, this one is so good. Stop ignoring red flags just because you want it to work. Discernment isn't about hearing God. It's about obeying God when He speaks. Because it's one thing to hear Him, but it's another when you're second guessing if you heard from Him or not. Like I said previously, if you are spending time in His Word, if you are spending time in prayer with Him, if you're spending time with Him, your discernment will recognize His voice. And if you're reading His Word too, you'll recognize His voice, because He's not going to say anything that's not in His Word. Or He's not going to say anything that is contrary to His will, which His will is all decency and order. So if it's not in decency or in order, it's not from Him. If it's not in respect, if it's not in the fruits of the Spirit, like, there's certain ways that you're going to be able to tell. And I may do a video about that as well, because I think that's a pretty good thing. Yeah, we'll tackle that in another video. Now, in all transparency, I've been there, because I've met someone and I instantly felt a connection with him. But when I paid attention, I saw red flags. Like the time I got to know a man for 5 days a few months ago. And even though we clicked perfectly, I noticed his foul mouth and his drinking habit. I knew immediately he was not the one. No matter how good the connection felt, it didn't mean it was from God. And this is exactly why I emphasize in my book, Redefining Single, that people must heighten their discernment, because the enemy won't send something obviously bad. He'll send you something that looks almost right. Proverbs 14 verse 12 says, "There's a way that appears to be right, but in the end it leads to death." Discernment means listening to God the first time instead of waiting until we're heartbroken. That is something that I have definitely been exercising recently, and I would advise all of us to do better with that as well. And number 3, look at their fruit, not just their potential. Because we mess up whenever we see someone going after God, or we think they're pursuing God. Whole time, they're literally only posting Bible verses, but they're not actually reading the full chapter. Or we see people every now and then at the group Bible study. But again, it's an active thing. It is a lifestyle. It is something that you should be living day in and day out. And I'm not saying that you should expect people to be blameless. However, when you are intentional about your walk with God, you will move differently. So if that person is only saying these things, but they're not actually doing these things, and if their words and their actions are not aligning, because that's something that we always say, actions speak louder than words. Yeah, however, our actions and our words have to align. That's why I always say, let my intention match my impact. I always say that, because I can say that my intention was a certain thing, but my impact was something different. And that is something that I'm currently navigating with work relationships and just everything in general. Like, you have to be very strategic on how you go about things. Plus, Jesus never told us to judge based off of potential. He told us to judge them by their fruit. And I know this is a conversation that gets some people's panties and draws in a bunch, because we're always like, only God can judge me, nobody can judge me. He said, judge lest you be judged. Like, for me, if I'm not an alcoholic, I can tell you, hey, put that beer down. Hey, put that cocktail down. because I don't have that problem. Now, of course, I will do it in love, because if I do have the fruits of the Spirit, I'm going to do it in love. I'm going to do it with care. I'm going to do it with genuine care in my heart. Because if I love you like I love myself, I'm gonna make sure you're not out here damaging the temple that the Father has blessed you with. So let's go to the word. Matthew 7 verse 16 says, by their fruit you will recognize them. Or in other versions it says, you will know them. The fruit is their character, consistency, and lifestyle, not their words or promises, or not just their words and promises. If someone's fruit doesn't align with what God told you to look for, stop trying to make them the one. So that'll just, oh, that's another video. Y'all see, I be recording and just be thinking about other videos I could do, because this is just so good. All right, the fourth one. Test the spirit, don't just trust your feelings. One of the biggest mistakes we make in dating is trusting our emotions over the Holy Spirit. 1 John 4 verse 1 tells us, do not believe every spirit, but test the spirits to see whether they are from God. That means just because you feel a connection doesn't mean it's spiritually safe. The enemy can send counterfeits that feel good but lead to destruction. Practical ways that we can test the spirit. 1, pray and ask God to reveal their true character. 2, observe them over time. Don't rush into emotional attachment. And 3, ask yourself, is this person leading me closer to God or further away? Again, I want to emphasize the second point, observe them over time. Something that I think a lot of us, and I'm not saying that God cannot move quickly and swiftly in relationships. I'm not saying that at all. However, I am saying that you need to proceed with caution, because again, when you're moving fast, sometimes it's challenging for you to actually hear the Father and to actually incline your ear to hear him. Because most times we think that it's him because it feels good. Just because it feels good does not mean it's from him. The enemy gives you things that feels good too. Yeah, but that don't mean that it's good for you. So you have to be able to be strategic. I don't want to say strategic because that's not the term that I want to use, but you have to be cautious. You have to walk circumspectly to God in order to know. And that means to be close, to be, proceed with caution. That is something that we should continue to do in all of our relationships, really, work, family, friends, etc., but we're specifically talking about in dating. If you have to pray for clarity over and over and over and over and over and over and over again about someone, God probably already gave you the answer. You're just ignoring it. Now, like I tell y'all, I resonate all too well with these things that I've been telling y'all, because I'm never going to tell you something that I have not gone through or that I'm not navigating myself, because this is a channel where we are all going to be able to hold each other accountable. That's what my hope is. That's what my intention is for this channel, is for us to hold each other accountable, for us to encourage each other. So, yeah. The fifth and the last way that I think that we can heighten our discernment when it comes to dating is surround yourself with godly counsel. Many people fall into deception because they date in isolation. They don't invite wise counsel into the process. Proverbs 11:14 says, where there is no guidance, a people falls, but in an abundance of counselors there is safety. If your trusted godly friends or mentors are all telling you the same thing about someone, listen. Sometimes people outside the situation can see things more clearly than you can. A godly community will help confirm or warn you when your emotions might be clouding your judgment. Now, I will be transparent with y'all. My sisters did warn me about my previous relationship, but because I thought I knew better, and because we had received a prophecy just like a little bit prior to me meeting him, I thought it was God. But something that I want to encourage us, especially those of us that are looking for community or that have good community already, if you vet those people and if you've made for sure that they're actually living for God and if they actually have your best interest at heart, maybe, just maybe, listen to what they're saying. Hear them out, and without you getting defensive. Because that was my bad habit. I got defensive a lot. Because I was like, y'all don't know him like I know him. Like, what y'all are saying, I don't think that's true. Da-da-da-da. But, here we are. You live and you learn. You do. But that's why I'm making this video, because I want us to, if you haven't already, or if you don't already have good community, then I'm praying that you receive healthy community and God-fearing people that can hold you accountable to God's standard. And if you need me to be a part of your community, listen here. I'm going to give you the truth. You ain't going to like me all the time, but I'm going to give you the truth. And yeah, I think we all need that. So yeah, y'all, that's all I have for y'all right now. If you want to avoid counterfeit relationships and sharpen your discernment, then let me know in the comments down below which of these points stood out to you most. And if you need a deeper guidance on this, then go ahead and click the link in my description box to go order my book, Redefining Single, Single, Whole, and Unique, Navigating Counterfeit Relationships to Embrace Authentic Singleness. And yeah, let's keep redefining single. Let's keep our eyes focused on God. Let's keep doing what He has called us to do. Okay? And I love y'all so much. And share this video with someone you think that needs to hear this. Okay? I'll see you in my next video. Bye.